It's really a momentous occasion that I am getting a chance to speak to all of you. Let me start with one basic thought that the income tax in this country got introduced way back in the year 1860. When the tax was introduced in this country, it had primarily a territorial base, that each area was given to a certain revenue collector and he was responsible for the revenue collection in that area. That system somehow persisted right throughout, I would say, a century and a half, almost 160 years. It was in 2017, during our annual Chief Commissioners Conference, which we call it as Rajasva Gyan Sangam, the Honorable PM shared an idea with the participants at that time. The candidate answers the question paper, but does not know where the paper is going to be examined and evaluated. And that way the results are announced. The idea was to bring in some sort of a objectivity to the whole process and to ensure achievement of a certain quality. We worked on that thought, and I'm happy to say that last year in the month of November, just on a day before the Dussehra day, we launched a pilot scheme of the faceless assessment. Having gone through and lived that experience, and having had the confidence that we can enlarge the scope of this scheme, this time on 13th last month, the Honorable PM launched the faceless assessment scheme in its entirety. It also needs to be underlined that the PM has always emphasized on of technology for the better services to the citizens of this country. I'm happy to say that the department has imbibed technology in a big way, and we are trying to move our manual processes to digital process. Just to give you a very, very brief overview of how it is an end-to-end digital solution that the department is aiming at. Right from your PAN enrollment, which is now available to an individual instantly, e-PAN. Your filing of returns of income, again e-filing. Our mode of communication through email, through SMSs, and then the process of response from the taxpayers also through electronic medium. Further to that, the assessment process is also done in an e-manner, and the dispatch of the assessment order also electronically. So right from the PAN, allotment of PAN to the end product, and I will take you further also, that everything is being sought in a digital fashion and in a very, very transparent, efficient manner. The faceless assessment scheme, my esteemed colleagues, Mr. Varshne and Mr. Punia are there. They will speak in detail, but I will give you a broad overview of the whole thing. In the initial phase, we picked up about 58,300 cases. And so far, you would be happy to know that we have completed almost 12,000 cases without a hitch. And it is only in about 300 cases that we have had an occasion to review them because of some risk parameters not being fulfilled. So just imagine, out of 12,000 cases, only 300 having that. And this I am underlining because in my other webinars and interactions with the stakeholders, a concern has been expressed that whether it would result in high-pitched assessments. You would be happy to know that it is not like that. It would be a fair, just, and an objective assessment. And that too without the trouble of you visiting the offices. All this in the name of, or the underlying philosophy behind this entire exercise is that hitherto we were being perceived in the role of a tax enforcer. We would like to be perceived as tax facilitators. And all our effort, whether it is assessment, whether it is collection, whether any other area of our work, we want to bring in that transparency, that efficiency, all for the better taxpayer services. So more and more people feel motivated to join the system. A case in the point would be that the department receives information from multiple sources. Hitherto, the Form 26AS displayed only the information relating to the income and the TDS made thereon. We have tried to expand the scope of that and made available all the information which is there in the possession of the department, brought it to the knowledge of the respective taxpayers so that they can know like what all financial activity they have done, and they could be conscious of the fact that this is the activity which needs to be reflected appropriately in the returns of income. The whole idea is to promote that kind of voluntary compliance, to promote filing of accurate returns. And believe me, once the returns are filed accurately and there are no mismatches, there would hardly be any occasion for picking up the case for a scrutiny. But even if because of certain gaps, the case does get picked up for scrutiny, it will be done in a faceless manner. What does this entire scheme mean? Like I said earlier, from territorial jurisdiction, we are moving to a dynamic jurisdiction. And what do I mean when I say this dynamic jurisdiction? To illustrate with an example, say for example, a person sitting in or a taxpayer of Ahmedabad, his case gets picked up for scrutiny. That scrutiny may be done by an assessment unit in say Kolkata or Chandigarh or any other station. In case that unit requires any input in terms of technicalities or in terms of legalities, in terms of processes, we have a technical unit to assist that assessment unit. Say in the process of framing that assessment, some verification needs to be done. So we have a verification unit. Based on the inputs received from the technical unit, from the verification unit, and from the response of the taxpayer, the assessment unit frames a draft assessment order. That is sent to the NEAC, that is the National E-Assessment Center. They do the risk profiling, and based on the risk profiling, they decide whether the case would further be subjected to a review or not. If it is not reviewable, then the assessment order gets passed. And if it is to be reviewed, then we see what is the gap or what is the view, why there is a difference between the returned income and what is proposed to be added to the assessed income. Meaning thereby that multiple filters are there, so which would prevent a situation where an addition which ought to be made gets made and an addition which is not warranted does not underlying foundation for the entire scheme, that there should be a fair, just and objective assessment of the income. A view has also been expressed and a concern or an apprehension has been expressed that there could be complex matters on which the taxpayer wants to address the assessment unit. Would there be a kind of a facility for video conferencing or interaction with the assessment unit? Let me assure all the members of this meeting, yes, we have made provisions for that also. But at the same time, I would like to put a caveat there, and that is, we are ensuring that the questions which are being raised to the taxpayer are not generic in nature. They are very, very specific. And we do expect and request all the recipients of such communication to respond in a pointed manner. Again, not in a generic manner. If it is a point-to-point question answer, it would help in easing out the entire process. And I personally feel that there would not be an occasion to have a kind of a video conference. But I do understand and appreciate there could be situations where it would be needed, and we are prepared for that. The very fact that we are having a meeting, a virtual meeting today, shows that it is possible. And that concern of the taxpayers would, I would say, would not be well deserved. Another question which was expressed, and I think I must clarify on that, is what about accountability? I know, in fact, when we are doing the work, we should be accountable for what we are doing. I have no hesitation in saying that all my officers are perfectly geared to take up that responsibility also. And since now this entire process is systems based, it is very easy to find out or to pinpoint where the gap is. And there is a team to monitor that gap consistently and continuously. Despite all this, even if we were to have some occasion where there is a gap, our helpline would be also available to the taxpayers and to the practitioners as well. Another issue which I would like to touch upon is what would be the position of the hierarchy outside the faceless hierarchy. Initially, because the time was short, we called it a residual hierarchy. We did realize that it was not an appropriate nomenclature, so we changed it to jurisdictional hierarchy. Because all said and done, ultimately each PAN has to be owned by a certain officer. In the NEAC or in the faceless hierarchy, since it's a dynamic jurisdiction, that is not possible. So the remaining people or the remaining staff strength and officers who are part of the jurisdictional hierarchy, they will continue to hold the PAN and the records of that particular PAN. They would be entrusted primarily with the job of collection and the post-assessment work in terms of should there be an occasion for a rectification or should there be an appeal effect to be given. All that work will be done by the jurisdictional hierarchy. So that role and function is clearly defined. Of course, the distribution of manpower to the faceless hierarchy and the jurisdictional hierarchy may have had some limitations in terms of that complete strength is not available to either of them. That is for the time being. Ultimately, both the hierarchies will have adequate manpower, adequate staff, And fortunately for us, with the help of technology, even that will be mitigated. Another issue was about the revenue targets. It's a perennial problem. And if I were to be candid enough, I would say that the revenue targets created a whole lot of problems. But it has to be seen in the context of a basic management principle that if you have targets, you have the motivation, you make the efforts to realize that target. But while meeting those targets, one has to be fair, one has to be objective, one has to be consistent, and one has to be accountable for that. And it is that philosophy which we are trying to imbibe. And I have no hesitation in saying that the entire IRS cadre, the entire Aikar Parivar is geared for that. And in this journey, the tax practitioners, the chartered accountants, other stakeholders are equal partners, and they also are extended arm of the Parivar. So it is a combined journey which we all have to perform and we have to carry on. And I solicit the cooperation of each and everyone, both inside and outside, in this journey, so that we can kind of make the entire process of tax collection, tax administration in this country a very, very soothing, comfortable experience, and something not to be weighed heavy on our minds. Rather, we must concentrate on our core activity. This is just one of the incidental processes which we have to undergo. Taxes, as you all know, they are very, very important to be paid, because so many welfare activities, so many developmental activities are based on the collection which you and I make to the government. And it is my earnest request to all that let us try and undertake this journey. It may be a difficult one in the initial phase, or it may be having some sort of a problems as we encountered in the morning, but never mind. If we are together, we can definitely achieve what we have set out to achieve. With these words, I think I will like to close.
As you rightly said, every challenge or adversity carries the seed of an opportunity that can be transformed into prosperity. Sir, I remember those days, 15 years ago, when we wanted to introduce, the e-return filing. There were prophets of doom at that time. For a country like India, e-returns kabhi ho hi nahi sakte hain. Then when we went to processing by the CPC, there were again apprehensions. They will make a mess of it. Sir, history has proved that we have overcome the challenges from time to time. And in fact, I would like to say that today is a very historic day for us, because on the 13th of August 2020, the Honorable Prime Minister shared his vision about faceless assessment, honoring the honest and transparent taxation. And sir, exactly 1 month from then, 12th of September 2020, if it was the vision of the PM, today the captain in charge of the mission, that is you, sir, you have shared your thoughts with us. और सर ये स्कीम के सक्सेस के लिए हमें श्रद्धा इसलिए बैठती है कि अगर बड़े मोदी साहब का जो विजन है वो छोटे मोदी साहब फुलफिल नहीं करेंगे तो और कौन करेगा?
So nice, so nice.
Sir, we have had the privilege, in fact, on a personal note, आप गुजरात में बहुत साल रहे हैं. You have really looked after Gujarat so well, and for the last 2 years, your innings at the board has been momentous. And as they say, the future belongs to them who believe in the beauty of their dreams. So we are confident that, we are definitely heading for better times. सर मुझे आपसे एक दो छोटे छोटे पॉइंट्स पर गुजारिश करनी थी एंड आई वुड सीक योर रिस्पॉन्स. सर वन इज कि मोदी साहब ने जो हमें चाय पिलाई 13 अगस्त को, मैं चाय इसलिए कहता हूं कि बिकॉज मोदी साहब इज वेरी फेमस एंड नोन फॉर हिज TEA. तो ट्रांसपेरेंसी, एफिशिएंसी और अकाउंटेबिलिटी, ये तीन चीजों को उन्होंने उस दिन जिक्र किया सर. एंड यू टच्ड ऑन ऑल द थ्री टुडे एज टू हाउ द फेसलेस असेसमेंट विल टेक अस ऑन दैट डायरेक्शन. Sir, there are only two issues on which I would seek your response before we shift on to the marathon discussion with the teammates of yours who have really worked with us and with whom we are expecting a momentous innings, in this 2020 match. Sir, number one, you referred to the specified financial transactions. And on the specified financial transactions, there has been a lot of anxiety in the minds of the taxpayers for this reason that, sir, because this is the first year of reporting, obviously there are a lot of mistakes, blunders that are taking place. तो लोगों को रात नींद नहीं आती है कि मैंने जो निवेश नहीं किया, वो खर्च नहीं किया, वो मेरे केस में दिख रहा है. Sir, our request is if you can please clarify and announce that the board should give us a portal, a window on our ITBA whereby, a taxpayer can respond if there are any errors on the 26 AS. Sir, would you like to just comment on that?
The point made by you is that there could be cases where certain financial transactions which do not pertain to that particular taxpayer have been reported on his portal, in his account.
Gee.
Number one, let me share with you upfront that there is a window in the portal itself where he can log in and say, okay, like this is the mismatch which he is noticing. But more than that, since it was the first year, we have parallelly worked on this kind of a scenario, and very soon you will have a response box there and then as in front of your information only, which would allow you to say confirm, deny, or amend that information.
Sir, even for the transactions for assessment year 2021?
Exactly. We want to make it almost real time.
Wonderful, sir. We appreciate that.
Then only the voluntary compliance would get picked up.
Ji.
So the idea is that once the taxpayer informs us that like this is not my transaction or it is not fully correct, we would like to go back to the reporting agency and say like why you are reporting this transaction. I mean, so there should be a mismatch there at that end also. There is a mismatch.
Sir, we appreciate the board will give us a window or a portal on which we can respond that the information is incorrect. And therefore, the taxpayer may not have any anxiety. NEAC may not have the burden of raising futile scrutiny. Thank you so much. Sir, एक और छोटा सा point है because we've had a very engaging session this morning. And sir, that is in regard to the present provisions of the scheme where, sir, it has been provided that a draft assessment order जब दिया जाएगा उसी stage पे आपको show cause notice भी दी जाएगी. Now, sir, and I can ask for a video conferencing. Sir, you will appreciate it is human nature. Sir, jab assessment unit may have worked for weeks or months together for, taking care of the assessment. It has maybe even gone to the review unit. The review unit has seen it. Uske baad, agar SSE ko ya taxpayer ko, sir, notice milegi, draft order diya jayega. So when he goes for any response or correction, sir, the mindset would be कि भाई यार कोई mistakes apparent from the record हो तो बताओ, बाकी इससे ज्यादा हम देखने के मूड में नहीं है. Sir, our humble prayer and suggestion is this show cause notice and this opportunity for video conferencing. Sir, if it is given earlier at a stage when the mind is yet to be made up even for writing the draft assessment order, sir, it will, save a lot of trouble and burden for both the taxpayer as well as the department.
No, let me respond to that, Mukesh bhai. That concern would not really be an issue for concern. Why? Because whenever an adverse view is being proposed to be taken in the case of a taxpayer, that is why many a times what is happening in the existing system. AO just forms an opinion and passes the order.
Ji, sir.
Without confronting like why do you have anything to say finally?
Ji.
That is why this provision of draft assessment order.
Ji.
So far as that mindset is concerned, let me tell you that once the response to that draft assessment order or the objection comes, it will not go back to the same assessment unit. It will go to another assessment unit.
Okay, sir.
Bring in that independence and that objectivity.
So basically, sir, I think you have made a very important statement. And sir, the media is also listening. I am sure this will give us a lot of comfort that if at the stage of the draft assessment order, the taxpayer raises firm and clear objections, sir, it will go to a review unit. And only after that, it will be another unit. So basically, the taxpayer will have the comfort that if I have a problem, I will be heard twice. Am I correct, sir?
Certainly.
I think this makes a big difference, sir.
But at the same time, I would also make a request and urge that just the way we are trying to frame specific questions, we would also urge the taxpayers and the councils to give specific replies rather than generic replies.
We appreciate it.
It would facilitate the process.
Sir, I think you have made some extremely valuable points. And I would like to close here with only a couplet of none else but our own Prime Minister. And I think that should encourage us because, as you rightly pointed out, the objective of faceless assessment is on one hand, honoring the honest, on the other hand, dangling the dodgers, if I were to say so, and in the process, promote voluntary compliance. And sir, if the targets that you are looking at are achieved through voluntary compliance, I am sure you would not be required to look otherwise. Certainly. And therefore, the Prime Minister said, he is so much of an optimist. He has said and repeatedly said on several occasions, माना कि काफी अंधेरा घना है, माना कि काफी अंधेरा घना है, लेकिन दिया जलाना कहाँ मना है.
Yes.
Sir,
yes.
Let us all, I think this is a historic session. And sir, before we bid you goodbye and continue the proceedings, sir, I would like to make only two very important and pleasant announcements, and even the President and the Secretary General of the Federation are listening to me, therefore. Sir, as was informed to you, almost 2,000 people are registered for this program. There has been free participation on Zoom. And I just received the message that with the, Facebook on Taxman and the YouTube link of the AIFTP, sir, just as there would be some 25 to 30,000 people viewing a 2020 match, sir, 2020 ka aaj ka hamara ye historic session is being viewed by about 25 to 30,000 people. I think that is a great joy and satisfaction for us. We want to thank you. We want to thank your colleagues also, who will be introduced by, my friend, Mr. Samir Yani, Dr. Puniha and Mr. Varshnaya. Two of the finest officers of the department are joining us on this panel. But sir, I would like to make another very pleasant announcement, and that is that Taxman has joined us as a media and research partner.
Okay.
And sir, probably, I think it will be a moment for you to also remember that for the first time in the history of Indian taxation, sir, AIFTP has taken the initiative with the support of Taxman, and we are launching as soon as this session ends today, Taxman AIFTP survey or referendum on some of the key points that are going to be discussed here. We have framed 10 questions, and we expect thousands of stakeholders to participate in this survey. And sir, the results, we will be having this survey and referendum open for 1 week. We will be sharing with the CBDT and the NEAC. I am sure you will welcome this democratic process through which we are trying to usher in this change. Because as Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see. So, sir, we would like to, jointly with the department, move hand in hand as stakeholders and achieve this mission. Thank you very much.
Just 2 quick points before I conclude, Mukesh Bhai and all other members.
Please, sir.
One, just carrying the point further which you have just mentioned, it is also in our consideration that each assessment order which gets passed by the NEAC would be accompanied by a feedback form. A feedback form for all the persons receiving any assessment order from the NEAC.
Lovely.
Which would kind of allow the taxpayer to share his experience.
So just like Australia or UK, sir, we will be in that league of world-class, tax administrations. Certainly. Where, the taxpayers' feedback will be taken. And so I am sure that will usher in the accountability factor, which was missing, along with the transparency and efficiency.
That is in the pipeline. And finally, I would also say one thing, that like any other scheme, there could be a continuous scope for improvement. And I look forward from all the members, all constructive suggestions whereby we can make this scheme even more successful than what we are planning right now. Thank you so much.
Sir, aapka ye sahkar milta raha to zarur, because as Victor Hugo said, nothing is more powerful in this world than an idea whose time has come. I think the time has come, and we will together march forward. Thank you very much, sir. And I would now request...
Thanks all the members for their patient listening.